everybody, it's Nick with Hop and Crow Creations. Pardon my voice, I've got a little bit of those fall allergies going on again today. Just wanted to come in and share this little video with you. So what I have here is one of the specimen slides that I've added some acetate to previously. And I'm just going to stamp my little bee stamp in there. Got that recently from Timu. And of course, I'm not a great stamper, as you can see. Missed a little part of the wing there. But anyway, this is just for me personally, so I'm happy with it. I'm just wanting to make this like a little pocket to hold my tag. I am going to distress it with the Ranger ink, the Wild Honey, and Vintage Photo. I love how those two look together. And the specimen slide is just made from the craft cardstock from Michaels. And as you'll see from this video, I usually end up with more ink on me than I do my project, but I do like having the sponge really wet because I really do like to have things extra grungy. And this little file topper is just one that I had cut out from a Tim Holtz die set. And I have just a little drawer full of die cuts, and this was in there with the tag. Again, I'm just distressing all the edges. I didn't know I was going to like that wild honey as much as I do. And again, this is just the Vintage Photo from Ranger. Just going to go over the edges with that too. I find of all of the Ranger inks that I do have, of which I don't have a huge lot of them, but Vintage Photo is my favorite. I use it a lot. Sometimes I use the Ground Espresso, but I think the Vintage Photo just is a color I like a little bit more. So I keep a re-inker handy. Sorry for shaking the camera. I'm working on my little table today. And it doesn't stay very still if I'm moving. And again, I just like how the colors just kind of work together on that Wild Honey and Vintage Photo. This is one of the French script stamps that I gotten from Timu also. Just wanted to add a little something to that bottom edge. This topper isn't necessary. I like the little extra that it is. I'm just gluing this because I don't need the tag, to go all the way to the bottom. It is a small tag. So I'm just kind of closing that up a bit just to help it kind of stay in place. of course, with the art glitter glue, it grabs on pretty quick, so kind of work kind of fast to get everything in place. And this is just a tag from a Tim Holtz set. I'm not sure which one it is. Like I said, I had this in a little drawer that I have full of die cuts. These are just the edges of pages that I had used in the Raven journal, and they're coffee and tea dyed. And I just want to give a little writing space for the tag. And I'm just doing a little freehand ripping, trying to keep that darker edge as much as possible there at the top. Those papers did have some beautiful color. And again, just adding a little distress to the edges. This is just a little mat that I had gotten from Temu. Actually, it was like 39 cents. And it's perfect for kind of laying on the table to save it from the inking. Again, sorry for shaking the camera. I really love how that paper picked up all that color. There's not a whole lot of writing space on these little tags, but I do like using them um, just for like a phrase or a quote or something in books that I'm reading, something that I'd like to remember. Sometimes just a word. I thought about actually putting it on the other side too, but I didn't. But I may go back and do that another time. I think these little specimen slides make great little pockets. This is just some envelope, one of the envelopes that I had coffee dyed a couple weeks ago. This one didn't fare very well. It was had a couple of tears in it, but of course it's still good for lots of things. This one is going to be a little pocket, and I'll just end up gluing it onto a page in my journal. I end up keeping that little strip of the waxy like paper over that was over the adhesive of the envelope because they take ink really well after being coffee dyed. And well, you can see I use it here in just a little bit. Just wanting to close that up because again, I'm going to glue that onto a page in my journal. And of course, I've got to ink the edges. It already has great color, but I really like making the edges kind of pop out. This is just the vintage photo. Just darkening up the edges there. So do any of you guys use a lot of vintage photos? Is that your favorite too? Let me know in the comments. Which one is your favorite? These are just envelopes from the Dollar Tree too. They really take color well. I just wanted to make sure I got that back edge. Again, that's going to be glued down, but I just wanted it to kind of pop. These are just some more edges of those papers that have come out of journals that I've used. Um, I do have a little bin that I keep scraps in. This is just some that I had shoved in a CD envelope when I was working on the Raven Journal. And I've kind of kept that little stash in there and just keep it in my cigar box on my desk because it has a lot of those great darker edges. The pink paper is just pink printer paper. I have a huge lot of that, and it takes really good color from the coffee. Now I'm just trying to kind of figure out where I want to put things. You can see on the edge of that envelope, it does have some of those little micro tears. And what I'm doing with this is just kind of reinforcing that edge, adding a little color to the page too. This is one of the envelopes that just bringing it up out of the coffee. It had a lot of little tears in it. I had the dome sponge on. This is the first time I'd actually used those. I just switching it out for the flat sponge. I think the flat sponges are just going to be my favorite. Unless I want a lighter hand, I think the dome sponges will go much better for just doing a lighter inking. But again, I like being heavy-handed. This pink paper really takes that wild honey well too. Looks so pretty. I really like the pattern on this side of the paper with those little dots. I dry my paper in the oven and it just, I don't know, sometimes gets such beautiful little swirls, designs, lines, and dots. I'm just wrapping this around the side of the envelope again just to kind of give it some more stability where it had the micro tears. It's a fairly large pocket, so I mean, it will hold quite a bit. I just want to make sure that the edge there kind of holds up. This is just a piece of scrap of an envelope. that had been a coffee and tea stain, and then uh, some of the inks had been used on it. Again, I'm just trying to figure out placement, get an idea of what I want to do. Didn't necessarily want to use like uniform pieces of the pink or anything. I wanted something a little different. This is that waxy paper that covers the adhesive of the envelope. And yeah, I had left it on when I coffee stained and dried my paper. Just inking it. It takes the ink so very well after that. And they're great little scraps to use. Just kind of distressing the edges with that vintage photo. Just doing a swipe with that wild honey. I was just going to glue this all the way down just to have texture. But thinking about it, it was just such a pretty little piece of paper that I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make another pocket. And of course, these are, it's kind of hard to see in the video, but somewhat transparent, not exactly like vellum, but they do have some transparency to them. Just making sure my edges are all down well. You can kind of see the tag back behind it and see the transparency I'm talking about. Again, this is just a piece of an envelope that I had dyed and inked. Just going to color up those edges. This one did kind of separate the papers of the envelope, kind of separated out when it's ripped, so it does create those little white edges. So it's important for me anyway to ink those up. I like having those darker edges. I just wanted a little pop of that darker color on the page. I wasn't sure if I wanted diagonal placement straight up and down or what. I'm just kind of moving it around to my eye gets happy. So I'm just tearing off another piece of that just to kind of spread that color along the front of the envelope. You can tell there where that is separating, so I'm just going to go ahead and rip that off. I just wanted to add a little bit more of that pink paper, try to even it out. I just did want to layer it different. And of course, this little piece has those little tiny dots also. So I liked that it did match up the other side. Now I'm just looking, trying to find a good placement to add the specimen slide to. I wanted to make sure that I was still able to use my little pocket that I added on. I thought, well, I may just use that as a tuck, but I really preferred the idea of having the side glued to the page somehow. I was just digging through the papers to see if there was something um, that I wanted to add. Again, I was just doing this on the fly, so I'm just trying to figure it out, what I want to do. This is just another one of the little tab um, die cuts that I had. Just see if I wanted to utilize that on the page somehow. Spoiler, I ended up not using it on the pocket. After this video, I did use the rest of that envelope. Um, I just did a freehand rip on it to create a little journaling card, and I glued that tab to the top of that page. And there's a picture of that on Instagram. You can see it sticking out of the top of the pocket, and um, I think it looks really good. Again, I'm just trying to figure out where on the page I would like to have that. I want to make sure that I do have good access to the pocket. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'm on the struggle bus on finding places on the page that um, I think things look good and they kind of work. Sometimes I really overthink it. I'm just kind of looking through some things around my desk that I might be interested in using. And of course, there's the little Tim Holtz packages. And these are just like, I call them little journaling cards, little snippets. I was just looking for some that kind of had that pinkish tone to match that paper. I find too often I hoard the Tim Holtz things that I have. I need to use them a lot more. So to me, the tag was still missing something. I wanted it, not the tag, but the specimen pocket was missing something. I wanted it to have a little extra. So I'm just looking at the French script stamps that I had there, and it had this little filigree type stamp, and I just wanted to incorporate that into the file tab there. Wasn't exactly sure. I think it would have looked good either way. Um, but thinking about how it was going to look on the pocket itself, I just felt that I needed more horizontal movement for the eye. But again, I think it would have actually probably looked good either way. And that just really kind of made that whole thing pop for me, and I like that. So I was going to just glue the whole thing down, and then I thought, no, I'm actually going to go ahead and leave this to have the ability to be a pocket that way too. And I like the idea of having that tab kind of go above the opening of the envelope pocket. So now I can, always put another tag down back behind that one and then still utilize that pocket also. And of course, those little snippets fit perfect down in there. And again, I use those for journaling little quotes or words, just distressing the edges again, just to kind of tone down the white around the edges. In the end, I thought those two just really had the tone of the paper and just kind of really pulled enough to make my eye happy. I did also end up making a hidden paper clip with some of the scraps and one of the little snippet cards here. I'll try to remember to put in a picture if I can at the end of this video, um, like I posted to Instagram that shows, the finished one with the paper clip and the little journaling card. I also had another little journaling card I had made out of craft paper, cardstock, and book pages, and a background stamp that I had that I ended up pulling out of my little stockpile and putting in this pocket too. Just adding on little um, gourd pin here for the tag. And of course, the little mini paper clips. It's a little bronze one that came in that multi-pack I did the Timu haul video on. But you'll have another one. I want to try and get posted today also. So if you want to watch for that one. I'm just making sure everything there makes me happy so far. Like I said, I again went in and made the paper clip, made the little journaling card, and added the other journaling card from my stash in there. So these are pictures of the completed project that show the paper clip and then the little journaling card also up there in the right hand corner. So thanks guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and help the channel grow if you don't mind.